We are officially 30 days into the cold plunge challenge, which means I'm officially a third of the way there. 15 more days until I reach day 45, which is my personal tipping point. And if you've been going along with this journey, then you know the tipping point is that halfway point where you're right on the other side and you're actually closer to the finish line than you are to the beginning. And what I'm going to do is take this time to explain, post 30 days, what's different, what's changed. Is it everything I thought it would be? Is it worse? Is it the same thing? Is it all hype? Does it make a difference? And so those are some of the thoughts I want to share with you. If you've clicked on this, you've probably seen the video itself is a few hours. And the reason being is because for this series, I really want to show the middle. I really want to show the process. And so I'm leaving in the full raw videos of me doing the cold plunge every single day for 30 days. I think it's good to do that because so many times we take the highlights and we cut out and we strip things down. And you can actually see every day the emotions I go through, my reactions to the cold plunge. And you can skip through it. You don't have to watch the whole thing. Play, pause, fast forward, watch on 2.5 speed. It doesn't matter. Nonetheless, I believe it's important to showcase the reality of what doing a cold plunge every single day looks like. And what you'll find is I'm not always in the mood. I'm not always a happy camper. I'm not necessarily doing it for the video. I'm doing it for myself, and the video just happens to be there. So you are seeing me in my most real and authentic state of mind. I also do it within the first 30 to 40, 45 minutes of waking up. There's been mornings where I have not felt good, or I've had a poor night's sleep and I still get into the plunge. There's been mornings where I'm sleeping really good and I had a great night's sleep and I actually don't want to get up and get out of bed, but I've got to get it done. So here is a recap in terms of the previous 30 days on what I truly believe about the cold plunging so far. Number one, it has done wonders in terms of getting things done. Around day 7 or 8, this mantra kind of came to me: it doesn't get easier, it just gets done. That is something that I'm a firm believer in. Every day I get into that cold plunge, it does not get easier. The cold is very much the cold. And I have said this over and over because it is true. There is no solace in the idea of eventually your body gets used to it. It does not. Your body does not get used to it in any way, any shape, any form, any fashion. Now, the way your brain perceives it changes. The way your mentality responds to it is definitely different. However, the way your body feels the cold water, it's the same every single day. And so you have an initial reaction of freaking out, panicking, of breathing, and you have your brain, in your mind, you're trying to say, okay, just give yourself to the process, meditate, just relax, get your breath under control. You're in here for 3 minutes, you know the drill, give yourself to the process. That's when everything goes well. When things don't go well is when you're trying to give yourself to the process and your body is saying, no, we're not doing that. This is stupid, and I'm going to let you know it's stupid. And your brain, the other half of your brain is saying, yeah, we're not doing this. Get out. And so every second for the 3 minutes is a fight. You're fighting you against you. One version is like, relax, we've got it, we've done this plenty of times. And the other half is saying, dude, what are we doing? Exactly, we've done this enough. We do not need to be doing this anymore. Those are the worst mornings, when every second is truly a fight. Those are the worst. Now, the post feeling. I can't tell you how amazing it feels without you probably experiencing it for yourself. But if they could sell it in a pill, if they could sell it in some form of a supplement, the post cold plunge feeling, emotion, dopamine, whatever that is, and the duration that it carries out for, I would say, at least for me, it carries until 2 p.m.-ish. If they could sell that, they would be a multi-hundred billion dollar company. I don't know why it is that way. I don't know what it is that does that. I'm assuming it's because your body is in panic and it's in a shock. And then once it realizes it's okay and it's made it through, it's just this extreme joy and happiness and dopamine. And so from that perspective, that could be why. I don't know. Maybe I should do some more research on it. So the post feeling is amazing. When you get done knowing that you've done something difficult and hard, something that isn't easy, something that you know a lot of people are not doing, it feels amazing. And from a psychological standpoint, it moves the needle. It moves the needle in your day, it moves the needle in your life. And I can just tell you from right now, my own experience, I have a lot of friends. And I've had some who've come to do the plunge, some who don't. And the ones who have tried, I haven't got any one of my friends to do it more than twice so far. And I've had the plunge for 45 days because it's hard. It's one of those things where it looks cool and it looks fun to do. And you do feel like a badass when you're done. And it's like, yeah, I plunge. Yeah, I get it. It can be a little cult-like, but it is cool. There's some like not socialism. There's some social aspects to it when you do it with your friends. However, only 3 of them have actually done it twice. And they were all saying, oh, I'm gonna come at least once a week. I'm gonna come twice a week. But once you realize your body isn't gonna actually get used to it, you're gonna have to deal with that same uncomfortable feeling every time. It's a little bit different. The same thing is going for 3 minutes. The worst part about it is when your hands are in, at least for me physically, it's my neck and my hands and my wrists and my forearms. And I have a couple friends who will get in and they'll sit in and they'll leave their hands out. And I'm nice, so it's admirable. Hey, you're getting in. You're getting in for 30 seconds, 45 seconds, that's all that matters. And in the same breath, on the other side of the quarter is, the point isn't to do things to make it easier, it's to embrace the uncomfortable. To be uncomfortable in the process. That's the whole purpose behind the challenge, is to give yourself to the uncomfortable feelings and the uncomfortable experience. So I say that to say, being post 30 days, it's really interesting to see how you can all start. You can all start with these ambitions and you can all start with a specific goal, but as time goes on, you'll just see like not as many people continue to it. And that's why I chose 90 days. Because I really do believe 30 days is actually easy to achieve no matter what it is, as long as it's not something extreme, But 30 days is not difficult. That is just, 30 days out of your life, do the same thing every day. 60 days to me is, okay, you've got some will, but 90 days, that is, whoa, you moved your life around. And I can't tell you, I think there's already been 3 trips that I've turned down, South by Southwest being a big one of them. And I really wanted to go. And I couldn't because I was like, wait, I can't do that because I have this commitment of 90 days. So when you commit to something for so long, you truly are moving your life around it. And there's been some work trips I've had to reschedule because I can't take the plunge with me and I don't want to do an ice bath inside of the bathtub and whatnot. So the feeling of doing something difficult and hard, having a starting point with other people, and then knowing you're the only one still continuing on, that makes you feel really good. And it's something that I wish more people could experience, the experience of if you just show up and if you just do it, let that compound interest accumulate over time and just kind of watch what happens. And, there's this interesting thought where I've been thinking, they say insanity is doing the same thing every day and expecting different results. However, when I read the biographies and when I look at these business owners or entrepreneurs, specifically in the tech field, what they say is you really are doing the same thing every single day with like minimal results. And then over time, that compounding of effort, that compounding of hard work, the compounding of consistency just eventually shoots up. And so in the tech world, we say, paper rich, dollar poor. And it's essentially meaning you're worth a lot of money on paper, but you're not liquid. You haven't got acquired. You haven't IPO'd. And so you're doing these things every single day, hoping that over time the results eventually kick in. So that's been a little bit of interesting of something I would say of a dichotomy to me when I think about insanity. So the number 1 was doing the hard thing every day. The number 2 is the consistency, or number 2 was the post feeling, and number 3 has been the consistency. Just doing something difficult, knowing others won't be able to continue doing that, and that to me makes me feel good. Number 4, how do I word this? Sorry, it's my watch, it's going off. Number 4 to me in terms of benefits is I have noticed in my joints, inflammation has gone way down. And so I'm not a person who like walks around in pain or anything like that, by no means. However, I did notice in my right knee there was a sharper pain that would show up twice a week and whatnot. I haven't felt it at all since I started doing these. I'm going to contribute it to the cold plunge because as of right now, that's the only thing that's different. I'm not doing anything different with my diet or my food, though today I will start an actual new diet. The only thing different was actually the cold plunge, and inflammation has just like gone down. So far, my sleep is better and I'm getting into a deeper sleep. So it's not perfect by no means, and there's a lot of things I can do to improve it. I will say though that my sleep, even though the duration isn't as long as I would like it to be, the amount of time I spend sleeping is actually a lot deeper. So I do wake up feeling rested for the most part. I would say in the last 30 days, there's maybe been 5 days where it's been like poor sleep, which is far better than what it was previously. So 30 days, I can't believe we're on day 30. It's been amazing so far. I'm leaving in all the videos so you can see how I feel every single day, all the emotions. Do I think people should be doing this? You don't need a cold plunge. Hop into a cold shower. I think it'll give you just as good of the effect. And if you want to go, that extra mile and get, some more depth in terms of the way it feels with the mentality of resilience for going into something that, was 40 degrees, 39 degrees, 38 degrees, there is a difference there. Do you need it for what I'm talking about? I don't think you do. I think that's for somebody like me and maybe somebody like you who's saying, okay, how close can I get to the edge and how long can I commit to being at that edge for my individual goal? That's what I wanted to do during this time. So I didn't want to do the cold shower. I didn't want to do the ice bath. I wanted to do a cold plunge sub 44 every single day, 3 minutes a pop. So that was for me. I don't think you have to do that though to get some of these benefits I'm talking about. There was something else that I was thinking about that I wanted to say. What was that? Cold plunge, ice bath, 90 days. Oh, pain. It is not pain. It is not pain. This is probably one of the biggest things I would love to communicate. And I'm gonna do my best to try to explain it. What I have realized in the last 30 days is what I called pain was not pain. It's just not. It is being extremely uncomfortable. It is being in a position that I'm not used to. It is not convenient. Let's put it that way. So it's not convenient. It's very uncomfortable. It's something I'm not used to. That does not make it pain. That makes it extremely uncomfortable. And so I was saying it's painful, it's painful, it's painful. And once I got to probably day 11 or 12, I started realizing this isn't pain. This isn't war-like pain. This isn't getting stabbed by a knife. This isn't a chokehold. This isn't getting kicked to your ribs, when you're training in MMA. This isn't even burning, whenever you do a kettlebell set or squats and, you're on set 10 or set 5, rep 10 through 12, and your knees are just burning and it feels like needles are in your thighs from the squats. This is not that. And that's not even pain. It's just extremely uncomfortable. And so for me, I've noticed that what I thought was pain was merely just a bad perspective. Being uncomfortable, being in a position that isn't convenient, being in a situation that you're not used to does not equate to pain. It just means it's uncomfortable. And in some cases, it's extremely uncomfortable. And in this case, with the cold plunge, it's extremely uncomfortable, and I experience that uncomfort every single day. So my definition has changed on the word pain. That has been extremely, extremely helpful because it's shaping a new point of reference from where it used to be in terms of, I don't like that, this feels this way, I'm uncomfortable, why am I going through pain? That's not pain. I'd kind of equate it to my daughter at one time was telling me she was experiencing trauma. She's only 10 years old, or at the time she was. And it was because she had to clean up the backyard. And I said, honey, that's not trauma, that's chores, And so your point of reference can oftentimes affect the way you perceive things. So for me, I've realized, wow, even me as a grown man, as an adult who's done MMA, who's done tons of training, who's played football, ran track, done wrestling, basketball, just a lot of different sports, difficult things, broken bones, even I had a poor perception on the word pain. And that's probably been a very, very big epiphany in the previous 30 days, is realizing it's not pain, it's just uncomfort. And doing this every day just further defines my perspective on it's okay to be uncomfortable. And it's okay to be uncomfortable for extended periods of time. That's a part of the human experience. The part of the human experience is not just happiness, not just joy, not just pain, not just fear, not just comfort, not just uncomfort. It's all of it. And so, and every day you probably experience a version of each one of those things I mentioned, right? I'm not a fucking guru, so I can't sit here and talk about being stoic and how do you stay centered through all of it. That's not the point. The point I'm trying to make is, I think we oftentimes try to stay away from the uncomfort. We oftentimes try to stay away from what we perceive to be painful, when really those are just parts of the process. That's just a part of the journey. And so to be human is to experience all of those things. I'll leave you with, if you want to watch the rest of the videos, enjoy, skip through. 30 days, would I do it again? Absolutely. Am I going to do it again? Yes, because I have days 31 through 60 coming up, on the way to day 90. Is it worth it? Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. There's probably been, I just mentioned about 5 or 6 things, but there's a rotating psychology throughout this time period of different things that I center on, or I focus on, that have come into my mindset and into my mind frame over the last 30 days because of this. And so what I'm getting from it, you may not. So even if you're doing cold showers, I promise you, if you can get through just 30 days, you're going to have epiphanies that affect you and that impact you in ways that I probably wouldn't have received. So yes, I believe they're extremely worth it. I think it's really, really good. Enjoy the rest of the video.